Hello and welcome. You're watching France 24 and this is Eye on Africa. I'm Clarisse Fortuné and now the headlines. The economy minister of the DR Congo is elected head of the country's National Assembly days after an attack on his home during an attempted coup. Charcoal is out, banana skin is in. Cameroon uses waste to make ecological charcoal and fight deforestation. Measures like black economic empowerment policies give people of color business opportunities in South Africa, but ahead of next week's elections, some are campaigning for the complete removal of racial criteria in the business sector. A key step forward to create a government 5 months after the presidential election in the DR Congo. The president of the National Assembly has finally been elected after months of political infighting. The winner, Kamerhe, was subject to an attack at his home in a thwarted coup over the weekend. Emmett Livingston in Kinshasa has more.
Kamerhe was elected the president of Congo's National Assembly late on Wednesday, becoming the second most important political figure in the country. The vote came after an attempted assassination on the politician on Sunday during a foiled coup, the details of which remain mysterious. But with Kamerhe confirmed as the president of the 500-seat National Assembly, the legislature can get to work after months of delay. The vote represents a key step in at last nominating a government, which is now expected shortly. Congo held elections in December, but 6 months later, a government still hasn't been appointed. For Kamerhe, this is an extraordinary political comeback. He held the same role for a time under former President Joseph Kabila, and after Felix Tshisekedi became president, he was chief of staff before being detained in a huge corruption scandal of which he was later acquitted. With a power base in eastern Congo, Kamerhe is considered an important Tshisekedi ally. On Sunday, during an attempted coup d'etat, about 50 gunmen tried but failed to assassinate Kamerhe in his home. The coup attempt was led by a Congolese man ordinarily based in the United States and included American fighters who are now in custody. But days after the dramatic events, it is still not clear why the coup plotters targeted Kamerhe, among other lingering questions. Congo's President Tshisekedi has yet to comment publicly on the attempted putsch.
Kenyan President William Ruto is the first African leader to make a state visit to Washington in more than 15 years. He's set to discuss with President Joe Biden a range of issues from trade to debt relief and the way forward for Haiti and Sudan. The US is also proposing to make Kenya the first country in Africa to benefit from funding in the CHIPS and Science Act, launching a new era of technology cooperation between the two countries. A cooperation welcomed by Ruto.
Kenya is a young tech country, and as you have said correctly, we have spent a lot of time working with our technology companies, our technology investors. We've had twinning relationships between Silicon Savannah in Kenya and Silicon Valley in the US. And this meeting is about what we can do together around digital jobs, business process outsourcing, research and development. And Mr. President, one very important aspect is the CHIPS Act, which hopefully we will be able to have a conversation about in the coming days.
Mahamat Déby Itno was sworn in as the president of Chad following the May 6 election that came after 3 years of military rule. He took power after his father, Idriss Déby Itno, was killed fighting rebels in 2021 after ruling the country for 3 decades. Succès Masra, who contested the results earlier this month, resigned from his post as prime minister on Wednesday. Global cocoa prices have surged, reaching an unprecedented peak of $10,000 per ton. Ghana, the world's second largest producer, recently increased its farm gate prices by up to 50% in a bid to give more back to its farmers. However, several farmers feel the increase is far from enough. Justine Baidu and Theodore Abiou explain.
When the government of Ghana announced a 50% increase in farm gate prices for cocoa last April, Nojo Emmanuel, like many of Ghana's cocoa farmers, leapt for joy. However, compared to the price on the world market, and the country's increasing cost of living, some still feel shortchanged.
They are buying cocoa at 2,000 cedis, but we know that in the world market is about 8,000. So if the government is buying cocoa at this price, that means the farmers are not getting much. It means the farmers are cheating the farmers.
Cocoa buying centers like this one are common in places like Esikasu, where Nojo lives. Since the price increment, the people here say the business has gone up. Yet, many farmers still have concerns over price, especially as inflation soars due to an economic crisis that the country is currently going through.
Almost by 1 month.
We are using the new prices to buy from the farmers. The farmers are happy, but the truth is only one. If the government increased the prices, it would have been better because the work is difficult and the farmers incur a lot of debt.
Before this new price increment, farmers got paid around 820 euros for a ton of cocoa sold. Now, they get more than 1,300. But past increments have been relatively low and far in between, leaving farmers frustrated.
We believe over the years, the price has not been good. So farmers expect that their situation improves significantly from where it used to be. But 158% increase in an income of any investment is very significant.
Aside from the smuggling, Ghana's cocoa volumes have been affected by strong winds and few rains, forcing a 40% drop in expected outputs for the 2023-24 season.
Stepping away from fossil fuel and from coal, Cameroon is now using a new, affordable and less polluting source of energy. The alternative is waste made of dried banana skin transformed into an ecological charcoal, a small-scale production which aims to reduce deforestation associated with the use of traditional charcoal. This report from our correspondents in Yaoundé.
3 times a week, Steve leads a team from Stema who collects plantain peels around some Yaoundé neighborhoods. Stema is a company specialized in the collection and transformation of household waste. A ton of waste is collected each time they come around. This is the raw material which will be used to produce ecological coal. Cameroon consumes an estimated 375,000 tons of coal per year.
With the team, we collect the peels. We make sure not to mix the peels with plastic. When we get here, we collect the peels. We also collect the stems which we use. We explore the stems separately and the peeling separately to have ecological charcoal.
These banana peels are sun-dried a few kilometers away in this open-air area. The plantain peels are later on burned at very high temperatures to obtain a powder. This is mixed with a stabilizing liquid. This procedure is enough to produce 3 tons of ecological charcoal per month. This small-scale production has 2 aims: recycling household waste and reducing deforestation associated with the use of charcoal.
By producing ecological coal, which is made from waste, which is the raw material which is never in short supply, we can therefore recycle this waste and produce ecological charcoal, which housewives will use. It will also contribute to environmental protection.
Founded in 2020, Stema has gained the trust of a few people such as Elodie. She changed her cooking habits after discovering this eco-friendly charcoal 6 months ago.
This coal does not smoke. It does not leave my pots dirty like regular coal. It's more affordable and has a longer lifespan than normal charcoal.
Cameroon's coal market is worth about 17 billion francs CFA, approximately $28 million a year. The growing demand for energy is threatening forests and accelerating global warming. A vicious cycle that producers of environment-friendly coal made from household waste are trying to reverse.
In a run-up to the South African elections due to next week, there is much debate around the government's affirmative action policies. For 30 years, a series of measures has favored South Africans who had been disadvantaged by apartheid, both in public employment and in business creations. These measures are widely contested by the opposition. Anne Wenzel, Caroline Dumais and Stéphane Carstens reports.
This garage is the perfect example of a successful business. Employing around 10 people for 4 years, Joy and Mark had always dreamed of having their own business. As they come from disadvantaged backgrounds, they took advantage of South Africa's triple BEE measures, the acronym for a legislative arsenal put in place in 2003, which supports the growth and success of entrepreneurs of colour.
To get work and contracts and things from government and tenders and things is very important going forward, you know.
But in exchange for privileged access to public markets, entrepreneurs must in return hire and train previously disadvantaged workers. And while the policy is valuable, change is slow.
I feel that could be sped up a little bit because I think there's many people like us that can do it, wants to do it, will do it, but they just don't have the access.
Although companies listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange have changed the profiles of their management teams, access to big capital remains limited and transformation is even slower among small and medium-sized enterprises. Companies with a turnover of less than €2.5 million do not have to comply with the new rules. For this economics professor, South Africa must continue to resolve inequality.
While it is on the right trajectory, are we seeing genuine transformation or the creation of a black elite, the aristocrat? So the truth of the matter is, yes, we still have to make sure that it is transformation and not the reproduction of inequality.
Following the example of the Premier of the Cape Province, the opposition, for its part, is campaigning for the complete abandonment of racial criteria in the South African business sector.
And it hasn't worked because we would have seen a big change in South Africa. We haven't seen it. We've seen it work for the few, not for the many.
The main driver of socio-economic mobility, this policy of affirmative action has made it possible to quickly create a generation of entrepreneurs in South Africa.
And that's the end of Eye on Africa. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more news.